Well, last week we introduced you to sex trafficking and prostitution in the Valley, how police are now going after the traffickers and giving prostitutes a chance to change their lives. Now we share the story of one sex trafficked victim and how she got out. Anna Marcos brings us the second part of a special report.
Daisy, who's using an alias, once walked these streets turning tricks for money. Not because she wanted to, because the boyfriend she loved forced her to. She didn't know it then, but Daisy had not fallen in love with a boyfriend. She had fallen victim to a pimp and sex trafficker.
I didn't know anything about pimps. I didn't know anything about this lifestyle. The only thing that I knew was to go to school, get good grades.
Daisy was in college, but she had lived a sheltered life and had never even dated. Then she met a guy who reached out to her on Instagram.
After a while, after 3 or 4 months of him kind of just leaving a comment here and there, nothing excessive, nothing stalkerish. You know, he was kind of like an urban hippie who rode bikes. I figured, hey, why not? It's a cool guy, you know? So we just started going on dates.
Dr. Stephany Powell runs Journey Out, a center for victims of sex trafficking.
He will find ways to have common ground with you. So if you say you were in the foster system, he's going to say I was in the foster system. If you say my mother doesn't understand me, he will go so far as to say, oh, okay, my mother didn't understand me either, but I understand you.
It very much started off with the boyfriend, girlfriend, for about a month or two, and then it just flips.
Daisy's boyfriend said he'd lost his job and wanted her to turn tricks, to prostitute herself.
A pimp once said, if you cannot find a weakness, then you create one.
Knowing that I could lose him and knowing that I just wanted to be loved, all of those created the perfect recipe for me saying, okay, let me go ahead and do it. And so when I did pull my first trick, I remember handing him over the money. You have to kind of numb yourself. I knew it was getting bad when I was just crying every day.
The danger of getting out is he's telling you this whole time, if you leave me, I'm going to either kill you or I'm going to kill your family.
I remember one time he came and jumped on I lived on the second floor, jumped on it, got into my apartment, jumped on the second floor balcony, broke down my door with his bare body. It had been locked and everything. Knew what car I drove, and so ended up breaking the back window with a brick.
Daisy finally left her pimp boyfriend after an arrest for prostitution got her into a diversion program. Through the help of groups like Journey Out, she got safe housing, career guidance, and counseling. But her story highlights how easy it can be for a young woman, any young woman, to fall victim to a sex trafficker.
So often people would say, well, that would never happen to me, or that would never happen to my daughter. So the average entry age for human trafficking is between the ages of 12 and 14 years old.
Lieutenant Mark Evans of the LAPD makes it his business to know how these predators manipulate their victims as he chases them down in the streets.
The reason they move from location to location is so that they can help prevent the girls from developing relationships, developing mentors, developing friendships that they could go to help them escape.
He renames them. So your name could have been Stephany, but now your name is Chocolate. So for some of them, they start to identify more with chocolate.
Daisy was lucky. She reclaimed her identity. She now teaches empowerment groups and serves as a mentor to other sex trafficking survivors.
I can see every day the work that I'm doing and how it matters. They can create such a beautiful, beautiful, amazing life for themselves every day that they could just be happy because they had that choice. And I want to give women those choices.
It may take some victims years to get out of the life. It may take them 6 or 7 false starts, but 66% of those who make it through this program never return to sex trafficking again. Instead of arresting the women, law enforcement officers now send those who want it to diversion programs that give them a fresh start. Some cases are harder than others.
A girl that's been in from age 13, now she's 23. And she has a long arrest record. And she has her pimp's name tattooed all over her face. As much as she wants to get out and will get out, it takes a long time.
In spite of the challenges around here, helping women find the self-respect they've lost is turning lives around. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The Journey Out Drop-In Center serves about 250 sex-trafficked victims a year to get out of the life, and all services are free. For more information, visit journeyout.org.